Today, we're unpacking another carefully crafted piece from the Daily Mail. The kind of article that isn't written to inform, but to shape public opinion. This one claims that King Charles never understood Meghan Markle and that Queen Camilla supposedly saw through her performance during a family trip to the Castle of Mey in 2018. On the surface, it reads like an insider exposé. But when you look closer, it's part of a long-running strategy. Take a few grains of truth, mix them with speculation, embellish them with dramatic language, and serve them as a narrative that unfairly places Meghan at the centre of conflict. And what happens next is predictable. Every time the Daily Mail, or any tabloid of its kind, publishes an article like this, they reinforce a familiar storyline. Meghan as the difficult one, Meghan as the outsider, Meghan as the problem that disrupts royal unity. Not because this is rooted in fact, but because it supports the monarchy's traditional PR positioning, and more importantly, it sells. So today, let's take a slow, detailed walk through exactly how this narrative is constructed, why it's misleading, and how these articles... When it comes to mildly enough, she was aloof. This isn't journalism, it's character construction. One of the most emotionally charged aspects of Meghan's early royal life was her father's behaviour. But the Daily Mail frames this situation as if Meghan simply refused to deal with him, as though she created the tension out of thin air. The truth is far more complicated. Thomas Markle wasn't just giving interviews, he was selling deeply personal content. He leaked private letters. He colluded with paparazzi to stage photos just before her wedding, which caused her immense emotional distress. He delivered public criticisms at moments when Meghan needed privacy and protection, especially during her pregnancy. Wise, it was necessary. The article paints the 2018 trip to Castle of Mey as tense, awkward and filled with conflict, yet Harry's memoir, Spare, tells a completely different story. According to Harry, the weekend was warm and bonding. Charles shared stories, including Scottish folklore about selkies. Meghan and Charles connected over their shared birth date. They enjoyed long walks and family time. So how does the Daily Mail reconcile those positive moments? Simple. They ignore them. This selective reporting is a common tactic used to create tension where none existed. If the article mentioned that Charles was cheerful, affectionate and performative in Meghan's presence, as Harry described, it would weaken the narrative they're trying to build. Instead, the Mail uses emotionally charged words like bewildered, irritated and fraught to manufacture drama. The goal isn't to present a full picture, but to cherry-pick details that support their preferred storyline. Meghan as the catalyst for conflict. But there's something crucial to remember here. Harry was there. But instead of acknowledging her as a skilled communicator, the tabloids twist her empathy and warmth into something deceptive. If she hugged, she was over-familiar. If she smiled, she was acting. If she showed confidence, she was ambitious. If she asserted a boundary, she was difficult. There was no version of Meghan the tabloids were willing to accept. Camilla allegedly seeing through her performance isn't evidence of Meghan's inauthenticity, it's evidence of pre-existing bias. Women who are grounded, independent and articulate often unsettle people who expect silent compliance. Meghan simply didn't shrink herself, and for some individuals within that institution, that was the real problem. From the moment Meghan entered royal life, she faced scrutiny that no modern royal bride had ever experienced. Certainly not to the same degree, and certainly not with the same racially charged undertone. She was expected to flawlessly adapt to an institution that had not meaningfully evolved in decades, while also navigating the pressures of international fame, the expectations of royal tradition, and the cruelty of online harassment. All while being pregnant. All while handling family betrayal. All while dealing with a hostile press. And yet, any time she expressed concern, whether about privacy, mental health, or the safety of her communications, those concerns were dismissed as exaggerations or excuses. But the fear of intrusion wasn't paranoia. Her private letter to her father was leaked. Her private photos were sold. Her boundaries were violated. The palace did fail to protect her from racist attacks. Under these circumstances, anyone would have been overwhelmed. The fact that Meghan maintained composure, grace and professionalism through so much pressure is a testament to her strength, not an indication of dishonesty. A recurring theme in royal coverage is that Meghan is somehow responsible for every tension, misunderstanding or dip in public support. When family members act out, blame Meghan. When palace communication fails, blame Meghan. When the monarchy faces criticism, blame Meghan. This isn't just unfair, it's strategically convenient. By blaming Meghan, the press avoids confronting the real issues: outdated traditions, internal dysfunction, the royal family's troubled relationship with the press, long-standing racial biases, resistance to modernity. Meghan became a lightning rod for public frustration because it allowed the institution to sidestep accountability. She did not cause the royal family's problems. She exposed them simply by existing within them. The article subtly suggests Harry's loyalty to Meghan was misguided, implying he withheld information or failed to explain things clearly because he was blinded by love. But that interpretation ignores decades of context. Harry knows better than anyone how damaging royal life can be. He saw how the press destroyed his mother's mental health. He saw how the institution failed to protect her. When he recognized the same patterns emerging with Meghan, the same press manipulation, the same careless leaks, the same lack of institutional support, he refused to let history repeat itself. His loyalty wasn't blind. It was informed, protective, and morally grounded. And the truth is, the press has always been uncomfortable with a royal man who prioritizes his wife's well-being over the monarchy's public image. The article ends by noting that Meghan and Harry left the royal family less than 2 years after the Castle of Mey visit, without acknowledging how the relentless scrutiny, misrepresentation and institutional failures contributed to their decision. You cannot place a couple under global scrutiny, refuse to protect them, undermine their mental health, twist their words, and then act shocked when they choose independence. Meghan and Harry did not leave because they were unwilling to serve. They left because the environment was unwilling to evolve. And the press, including the Daily Mail, played a central role in pushing them away by consistently creating false narratives and weaponizing them for public consumption. When we strip away the sensationalism, the anonymous quotes, and the tabloid hyperbole, a different reality emerges. Meghan was a woman navigating family fractures under intense global pressure. Harry was a husband determined to protect his wife from the same trauma that destroyed his mother. The palace was an institution unwilling to modernize or adapt, and the media was a machine in constant search of a villain. So when the Daily Mail publishes yet another narrative casting Meghan as the source of tension, it's important to recognize that these stories reveal far more about the prejudices of the storytellers than the character of the woman they're writing about. Meghan and Harry deserve compassion, understanding and respect, not the relentless distortion that tabloids continue to profit from. Their choices were grounded in survival, not rebellion. Their boundaries were acts of self-preservation, not defiance. And their love, loyalty and courage deserve acknowledgement, not condemnation.